I want to talk about maritime admiralty law, the law of the water and the law of money. It's the law of banking. Okay, so the British royal elites that own us, that own the world, that own America, they have turned all of our law lingo, so all of the words that we use that are law related, and our whole law, they've turned it into nautical language. And when you begin to learn the language, things start to just make sense. Like the word nautical originates from the Greek word nauticus, and nautic from the Middle French nautique, from Latin nauticus, meaning ship or sailor. When you place your home on the market, it goes up for sale. So you got to think of a ship sailing. Now, if when we are born, we are issued at birth a birth certificate. And ironically, the doc, right, signs your birth certificate. Now, a lot of people don't realize when a ship goes to a port, that's called berthing a ship. And when a ship shows up at the port, they have to show their birth certificate, and that proves all the items are what they say they are and all of that. So just like the real world, that ship pulls into the dock and you have to show your birth certificate. Now, in nautical terms, a berth is a space where a vehicle can be parked, docked, or loading or unloaded. When a ship berths or parks in a port or a dock, the captain has to produce the birth certificate. So when you are born, you come through your mother's birthing canal, which is what? It's water. So just like the ship, you come through the birthing canal, which is water, and you are birthed, and you get your birth certificate. Now, a product is shipped from a warehouse to a destination when it leaves the warehouse. Why would you use the word ship or shipped when it's transported in an automobile or by air? Why are you using these words? Remember, words have meaning, right? Now, you can connect a device such as a printer or a USB cable to a port opening in your computer. A porthole on a ship describes a window or opening on a vessel. The word originates from the word port, which means door. Ship shape. I mean, that's an old saying. When people say, I've heard it a million times, especially like from my dad says this a lot. All right, get everything into ship shape. It's an expression that arose from these inspections, from these ship inspections during the 1800s to ensure that the ships are clean enough to bring in to these ports to berth, and that there's no disease that they're bringing from other countries. So all of these words, again, have meaning. Now, when the ship is inspected and accepted for port entry, it was said to be in ship shape. And the word captain, the ship has a captain, that word captain comes from the word capital, which is money, and water, right? Now, in nautical terms, a dock is a structure extending along a shore into a body of water to which boats may be moored. Mooring means to anchor or to chain or to tie down. In a courtroom setting, the dock is on enclosed space where the defendant will stand or sit in court at that time. Now, here's some more terminology for you. A jury rig. We've all heard that term before. A jury rig is a nautical term describing something assembled in a makeshift manner, offering only a temporary solution. It originates from the nautical word jury mast, a temporary mast made out of any available pole. When the mast has become damaged or lost or gone overboard, this term gave rise to the word jury rigging, which describes an attempt to place certain persons as jurors in a court proceeding to ensure a particular legal decision. All right, all these words are tied and connected to nautical terms. Again, now if you look at an old school courthouse, the railings that you pass through, if you're a plaintiff or a defendant, you look precisely like the railings on the large sailing ships. This is all symbology. This is because the accused was placed in a dock during court proceedings during some severe trials. It's no coincidence that the court is where sports and games are played either. And when you go to a court, the game being played is your life, right? We got to remember, court is a racket. Tennis is a sport that is played with a racket on a court. Maritime admiralty law, which is the law of the water and the law of banking, is how the court works. All of this dates back to the British just taking over the world. Now, the word Cana, that out of Canaanite, the word Cana itself is a Phoenician word that means banker. Now, merchant, which ironically also sounds like mermaid, which is on the water and swimming in the sea. A merchant is someone who makes money on the water. When you walk into a courtroom and you sit on that bench, the word bench in Latin actually means bank. And where is a bank found? It's on two sides of the river. A river flows and has a currency, right? So when you walk into the courtroom and you speak to the judge who's dressed in a black robe, which is dating all the way back to Saturn worship and the old god Set, aka the black cube of Saturn, the great inhibitor. Saturn is known as the great inhibitor, somebody or something that holds you back and teaches you a lesson. Now, judges, graduates, priests, rabbis, they also all wear these black robes, and you can also look at them as inhibitors as well. When you get called by the judge or the inhibitor, he's going to have you stand up and walk through these small little gates. Now, these gates are actually called the water gate. When you go through the water gate, you are now in deep water. The other attorney is going to try and sink your ship by poking holes in your story, and now you're going to need to bail yourself out, right? Bailing yourself out. Once you pay your bail, you're going to be put in a cell, right? And you're going to be charged. What are you going to need to get out of that cell, to get out of that charge? You're going to need some currency or a liquid asset. Now, these are all, again, it's all water. These terms, the banking laws that we have, all of these laws are connected to maritime admiralty law, to the water, from the British, because they owned the water and they sailed around the world. And way back, the British East India Company was making poppy and getting people hooked on that. So they were doing all sorts of crazy stuff. But again, and these are real terms. You can look all these up if you're interested. Look them up. Go back. I'm not making this stuff up. But again, this is for your entertainment and satire only, because people freak out and get scared. I love you all. I'm not trying to scare anyone. I want everyone to succeed and be happy and be smart and have a relationship with God. I love you all, and this is for your entertainment.